The time has come. This is the final Excel DSS project instructional video. You will need your Excel DSS project file. And in this lesson, the final lesson, we will build an or and an and statement. I know that sounds weird, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to build another count if statement, and then we are going to determine, was I right as a percent correct? Let's jump right into it. All right, just to kind of recap here, we had uh, copied the actual price of our stock into this column, the predicted price from the residual model here. We determined at the end of the day, at the end of, and this was July 3rd, 2017, the predicted price was supposed to be 144 and the actual closing price was 134. Our instructions were to buy that stock because tomorrow, which is technically the next line, the 134, the actual price, should rise to meet the predicted price. When we actually looked into that, we discovered that wasn't the case. We were instructed to buy, but the stock price went lower, and we get that from here. We can see that the stock price was 133.50 on the next day, the next trading day, which was July 5th of 2017, and we were told to buy, so we would have lost money there. Okay, we also created a buffer which changes a lot of our buy, sell, holds. Okay, but what we need to do is we need to really come up with a formula that determines the action and the change. So if I was instructed to buy and the price went down, I would have like a loss. It would be a bad thing. But if I were instructed to buy like down here and the price went up, that's a good thing. So we're going to create a brand new formula. It's actually a combination of two formulas. There is something called an OR statement, and we're going to start our formula off with this OR statement. And in that OR statement, we are going to string together three sub-statements, or we're going to nest three sub-statements whose job it is to determine whether or not a statement is true or false. I'll give you an example. If buy and higher happen at the same time, that is a true statement. We want to give ourselves a point. If buy and lower happens, that's a false statement. We don't like that. We're going to get no points for that. Okay, so a true statement would be buy and higher. But that's not the only true statement. We could have another true statement. It could be sell and lower. Okay, so if you have sell an instance where you were told to sell and then the price went lower the next day, that's a good thing. You sold basically before it went lower because you got to remember this field, this cell here is looking at this day and this day. It's looking at the next day, one line down. That's why it says lower. So buy and higher and sell and lower are good things. And the other one would be hold and same. That would be another true statement or a positive statement. Anything else outside of that would be a false statement or a bad thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to use three and statements. One and statement is buy and higher. The other and statement is sell and lower. And the other and statement is hold and same. And we're going to wrap that inside of an or statement. Okay. Let's do that right now. We're going to go to column K, and we're going to type, was I right, question mark. And we're going to underline that. And we're going to start. Let's go into cell K32. Type the equal sign, and I will actually throw the formula up now. It's a pretty long and, janky formula. So I'm going to throw that up now to give you enough time to maybe write it down or to you know, commit it to memory. So we are going to wrap those three and statements with an or statement. So we're going to start off with or, parentheses, and we're going to write our first and statement, and, parentheses. Okay, our first logical statement is if G32, so I'm just going to click on G32 equals quote by quote comma H32 equals higher quote parentheses. I want that to be true. I know it's not true. I can see it says by and lower, but as true statements go, if G32 equals by and H32 equals higher, then it would be a true statement. So that's the first of our true statements, comma. We have another true statement here. This is why we have or, because we have multiple logical statements lined up alongside each other. Or and, parentheses, G32 equals sell, end quote, comma, H32 equals, quote, lower, end quote, parentheses. If that's the case, G32 equals sell and H32 equals lower. That's a good thing. That would be true. If it's not, it's false. It's bad. Okay, so that is our second true statement. We're going to add our third true statement. We're going to separate it with a comma, and, parentheses, and I think you know where this is going. G32 equals, quote, hold, end quote, comma, H32 equals, quote, SAME, end quote, parentheses, and that would be the other true statement. So if you get any other combination than buy higher, sell lower, or hold same, any other combination, it's going to be a false or it's going to be negative. Don't forget, you need to close this out with another parentheses. This one right up here, up in the front. Okay, I'm going to leave this up for another second, but hopefully the cadence and the pattern has stuck. I'm going to hit enter now, and we see that it's false, and that's correct. It is false. The action was to buy, and the price went lower the next day. It was supposed to go from 134 closer to 144, but in actuality, the price went down to 133. And then it looks like it started trending down and up again, and the model just seems a little weird here. And so we kind of start off the first 3 days with falses. So we need to take this and copy it down all the way down to the bottom and just make sure that it does go down to the last line in row 1289. Okay, and if you can't double click it, click and drag it all the way down. Okay, so was I right? False, 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 true, false, true, false. Okay, we have a whole list of those. Now what we need to do is count the number of trues over the number of trues plus falses, and we will get a percent correct. So under here, let's go to, and it doesn't really matter, anywhere underneath this count. Let's shoot for I37. Let's type in the word percent correct and underline it. Underline it, excuse me. And we will type in true equals false equals. All right, and then over here, We are going to do a count if statement. We're going to count the number of trues in this column, and we're going to count the number of falses in this column. So this should be pretty easy because we've done it enough times. So in cell J38, I'm going to type equals count if, and I'm going to select everything in here. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, that's the range. Count if K32 to K1289, comma, quote, TRUE, end quote, parentheses. And that should give us a number. I have 603 trues. And then I have to do the same here. I'll just build it out. Equals count if parentheses, and I believe it was K32 to K1289, comma, quote, FALSE. All right. And you can only have true false because same and hold, that was a true false statement. So there's no other statement but true false in that column. All right. And we have 655 falses. 603 trues, 655 falses. And if you know how to build a basic equation in Excel to figure out the percentage, well, I'll show you if you don't know how to do it. Let's go to cell J37 right here next to percent correct. And let's type in equals. And you want the amount true, which is J38, divided by, that's that slash, parentheses, J38 plus J39, close parentheses. All right, and that gives you a decimal figure. And we're going to change this to a percentage. And I want to, you know what you can do is you can bold this and you can highlight this with any color you like. I'm going to highlight it in yellow. And we'll make it look nice. We'll underline that there. And here you go. Using a 2% buffer, I was correct 48% of the time. Let's change the buffer. If I go to 1%, I am more correct. If I go to 6%, I am less correct. If I go to a half a percent, oops, 0.005, which is a half a percent, I am floating around 50%. If I don't use a buffer, I'm about 50%. So you can play around with this. It really is no right buffer. I don't. Oh, that's another thing. I don't care what the percent correct is. It doesn't matter if it's 70% or 30% or 52%. It's probably going to be somewhere between 40 and 55. So 50% is actually pretty high. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect your grade. If you're higher than that, you probably did something wrong. If you're much lower than that, you probably did something wrong. But I won't grade strictly on the percent correct. It doesn't make a difference either way. Okay, that is it for this project. I hope you enjoyed it. For my finance folks, I hope this made sense. I hope I did it right. And for those who are not familiar with finance, or if it's not one of your strong suits, I hope you were able to glean something from this, and that this model here, this DSS is designed to help someone pick stocks going forward to the next day. So how would this actually work? Well, if you scrolled all the way down and it was July 1st of 2022. Okay, so this right here is June 30th, 2022. The next day, if we did it, would be July 1st, 2022. If the predicted price was supposed to be $465 and the closing price on that day was $302, you would technically buy that stock and hope that the next day the stock price would go up because it was predicted to go up. It's undervalued on this day, and hopefully it would catch up. So this is where this whole DSS comes in. As you build further down here, as you go into the future moves downwards in this case, you would look at the very, very last line and say, um, hey, look, it's undervalued. Okay, this is the predicted price. It's 465. This is the current price is 302. I'm gonna buy because it's undervalued. Now, how much do you trust this model? Well, right now I'm batting about 50-50, so it really isn't it's just basically it's a guess. You're either right or you're wrong. But if you have a percent correct that's, in the mid to upper 50s, 60s%, yeah, there's a pretty good chance you do enough actions, buy and sells over enough days, you will make money. Okay, so that's where the DSS comes in on this whole project. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing your spreadsheets and your papers. Take care.